What if a child, moments after birth, spoke words that shook the world? In a small Mississippi town divided by faith and fear, a newborn baby didn't cry. He recited the ADHAN, the Islamic call to prayer. Doctors froze, nurses wept, and an entire community was left questioning. Was this a divine miracle? A message from God? Or something even greater? This is the story of a child who changed hearts, broke barriers, and left a legacy that still echoes today. You won't believe what happens next, or the heartbreaking twist that no one saw coming. Stay with us, because this story will grip your soul and leave you forever changed. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into a miracle that defies explanation. In the quiet town of Willow Bend, Mississippi, nestled among cotton fields and winding creeks, life moved slowly, but tensions simmered beneath the surface. The town was a patchwork of faiths, Christians, Muslims, and a small Jewish community, each keeping to their own corners, their differences marked by silent stares and whispered judgments. Willow Bend was known for its conservative roots, where church bells rang louder than the mosque's call to prayer and mistrust lingered like morning fog. Amir and Noor Hassan, a Muslim couple in their mid-30s, lived on the edge of town in a modest clapboard house. Amir worked long hours as a carpenter, while Noor ran a small tailoring business from their living room. For 12 years, they had prayed for a child, their hearts heavy with hope and heartbreak. Every night, after the Maghrib prayer, Amir would kneel on their worn prayer rug, his voice soft but fervent. "O Allah, grant us a child. Fill Noor's arms with your mercy." Noor, with her gentle smile, would join him, her faith unshaken despite the years of waiting. The town's whispers were unkind. 12 years and no baby, some said. Maybe it's a sign they don't belong here. Others, more cruel, muttered, "If she were one of us, God would have blessed her by now." Noor bore the taunts with quiet dignity, her hijab a shield against their words. She'd sit under the old oak tree in their yard, her hands tracing patterns in the dirt, whispering to Allah, "If you've written motherhood for me, I trust your timing." One sweltering afternoon, as Noor rested under the oak, a stranger appeared at the gate, an elderly woman with eyes like polished amber, her shawl fluttering in the breeze. She carried no bag, no purpose, just a serene smile. "Your child is coming," she said, her voice like a melody. "Prepare your heart." Noor's breath caught. "Who are you?" she asked, but the woman only smiled wider. "I'm the answer you've been praying for." Before Noor could respond, the woman turned and vanished down the dusty road, leaving only the scent of jasmine in her wake. The camera lingers on Noor's face, her eyes wide with wonder and fear, as she touches her stomach instinctively. Did she imagine the stranger? Was this a sign from God? Amir and Noor continued their quiet lives, their faith a steady anchor. They gave what little they had, food to the hungry, clothes to the poor, time to the elderly, believing that kindness would pave the way for blessings. Then, one stormy evening, Noor collapsed with a fever that burned through her body. Amir, his heart racing, bundled her into their old pickup truck and sped to Willow Bend's county hospital, a place where Muslim families rarely went. The hospital served mostly the town's white Christian majority, and Amir felt the weight of curious stares as he carried Noor inside. A nurse, Emily Carter, took Noor's temperature and called for Dr. Samuel Reed, a veteran physician with a kind but weary face. After tests, Dr. Reed emerged, his expression one of quiet astonishment. "Mr. Hassan," he said, "your wife is pregnant. It's early, but the signs are clear." Amir's knees buckled. Noor, still weak, wept tears of gratitude, whispering, "Alhamdulillah." The news spread through Willow Bend like wildfire. Some neighbors offered prayers and casseroles, others scoffed. "Let's see if it lasts," said Karen Wells, a local shopkeeper known for her sharp tongue. Noor, undeterred, placed her hand on her growing belly and prayed for strength. Amir began taking her for evening walks near the town's old church gardens, where roses bloomed in defiance of the summer heat. One evening, an elderly Christian woman, Margaret Tate, approached Noor. "You're glowing, dear," she said, her hand resting briefly on Noor's shoulder. "God's got you." For the first time, Noor felt a crack in the town's invisible walls. By the 9th month, money was scarce. Amir worked double shifts, borrowing small sums from a mosque to cover medical bills. The community rallied. Some gave dollars, others prayers. Then, during a midnight thunderstorm, Noor's water broke. Rain lashed the truck as Amir drove, his hands gripping the wheel, his lips moving in silent dua. "Protect them, Allah, please." At the hospital, Dr. Reed determined the baby was breech, requiring an emergency C-section. Amir waited outside the operating room, his prayer beads worn smooth, his heart a drumbeat of fear and hope. Inside the sterile operating room, nurses moved with precision, the air thick with tension. Dr. Reed worked swiftly, his hands steady. Outside, the storm raged, lightning illuminating the hospital's windows. At 2:37 a.m., the silence was shattered, not by a cry, but by a soft melodic voice, Allahu Akbar. The ADHAN, the Islamic call to prayer, flowed from the newborn's lips, clear and otherworldly. Nurses froze. Dr. Reed's scalpel paused midair. Nurse Emily, a devout Christian, whispered, "Jesus, what is this?" The pediatrician, Dr. Lila Monroe, cradled the baby boy, her hands trembling as his tiny lips continued, "Ashhadu and la ilaha illallah." The room was a tableau of awe and disbelief. Amir was called in, his legs heavy as he entered. Noor lay unconscious, recovering from anesthesia. In Dr. Monroe's arms was their son, his eyes bright, his voice now silent, but his presence electric. "He's healthy," Dr. Monroe said, her voice shaking. But he didn't cry. He chanted. Amir took the boy, his heart pounding. "Is this real?" he whispered, tears falling. "Is this from you, Allah?" Noor stirred, her voice weak. "My baby, is he okay?" Amir knelt beside her. "He's perfect, Noor." He recited the ADHAN. Noor's sobs filled the room as she held her son, whispering, "You heard us, Ya Rab." By morning, the hospital buzzed with whispers. A Muslim baby reciting the ADHAN in a Christian town? Some called it a miracle, others a hoax. Reverend Paul Bennett, the hospital's Baptist chaplain, visited the nursery. He leaned over the crib, watching the boy coo softly. "If this is real," he said to Amir, "it's a sign for us all, not just your faith." Amir nodded. "It's Allah's mercy, but maybe it's for everyone." Noor was discharged 2 days later. At the billing desk, Amir learned the hospital costs were covered by Thomas Grant, a wealthy local businessman who'd once refused to hire Amir, citing cultural differences. Now, Grant had paid the bill, leaving a note, "For the child who speaks God's name." Word of the miracle baby spread. Neighbors who'd once shunned the Hassans brought gifts, blankets, toys, prayers. But not everyone was convinced. Rob Calhoun, a local mechanic with a history of prejudice, scoffed. "It's a trick," he told anyone who'd listen. "They're using that kid for attention." He tried to prove it, storming to the Hassans' home, but found only a sleeping infant, peaceful in Noor's arms. Rob left, muttering, but doubt flickered in his eyes. The mosque announced the baby's akikah, naming ceremony, inviting the entire town. On the day, Willow Bend's divisions melted away. Christians, Muslims, Jews, and skeptics filled the mosque's courtyard, sharing food, curry, cornbread, matzo. Amir and Noor served with their own hands, their son in Noor's mother's arms. During the final prayer, the baby stirred, whispering Allahu Akbar. The crowd fell silent, even Reverend Bennett bowing his head. They named him Zayn, meaning beauty and grace. Zayn grew, his presence a quiet force in Willow Bend. By age 2, his soft, melodic voice echoed the ADHAN whenever the mosque call rang out. Visitors came from neighboring towns, drawn by stories of the miracle boy. At a community gathering, Rabbi Sarah Levine watched Zayn play, then said, "God speaks through innocence, not doctrine." But Rob Calhoun's resentment festered. His auto shop struggled as the town embraced unity, and he blamed Zayn. "That kid's a fraud," he'd rant. "They're brainwashing everyone." His daughter, Ellie, only 9, challenged him. "Dad, why do people smile around Zayn?" Rob had no answer, his anger masking a growing unease. The town's annual harvest festival, once a Christian-only event, open to all. Amir and Noor attended with Zayn, now 3, hoping to build bridges. The festival was alive with laughter, music, and pie stands. Thomas Grant hugged Amir, joking, "I'm here for Zayn's blessing." But Rob, drunk and bitter, confronted Amir. "You're turning this town into a circus," he shouted. Before Amir could respond, Zayn, in Noor's arms, looked at Rob and whispered, "Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah." The crowd hushed. Rob's raised fist fell, his anger deflated by the child's serene gaze. Reverend Bennett stepped in. "Rob, it's time to listen." By age 5, Zayn was a quiet, gentle boy, enrolled in an interfaith kindergarten. Teachers noted his uncanny ability to calm others, describing him as a listener who hears souls. Amir and Noor kept him grounded, refusing media requests. "He's a child, not a prophet," Amir said, but the world kept watching. Then, one autumn morning, Zayn fell ill. A fever turned into weakness, his voice fading. Doctors at the county hospital ran tests, finding no cause. By the 3rd day, Zayn was in intensive care, his small body hooked to machines. Willow Bend held its breath. Prayer vigils filled the mosque, church bells rang, and Jewish families lit candles. Ellie Calhoun stood outside with a sign, "Zayn, we love you." Rob watched from a distance, his usual scowl replaced by something softer, regret perhaps. Inside, Amir and Noor stayed by Zayn's side, their prayers a lifeline. On the 4th night, Zayn opened his eyes, whispering, "La ilaha illallah." Then silence. The machines flatlined. Dr. Reed, tears streaming, said, "I'm so sorry." Noor collapsed into Amir's arms, their world shattered. The town mourned as one. At Zayn's janazah, Muslims, Christians, Jews, and skeptics filled the cemetery. Amir, Reverend Bennett, Rabbi Levine, and, shockingly, Rob Calhoun carried the small white casket. Imam Khalid spoke. Zayn was a bridge, a reminder that love unites where hate divides. The stranger was revealed to be Aisha, a nurse who'd been in the operating room the night Zayn was born. She'd kept a secret. During the C-section, she'd seen a faint light around Zayn, like a halo. Too afraid to speak then, she now shared her story, believing Zayn's purpose was to unite. Her words inspired the town to build the Zayn Peace Center, a simple space for all faiths to gather, its plaque reading, "To the boy who spoke peace before words." Amir and Noor moved next to the center, dedicating their lives to its mission. Every Friday, Amir cleaned the floors. Every Sunday, Noor shared bread with visitors. People came from across the country, parents seeking hope, skeptics seeking answers. Even Rob visited, sitting silently by the center's fountain, staring at the stars. Years later, Ellie, now a teenager, volunteered at the center, teaching children about unity. One night, as the wind whispered through the trees, some swore they heard a faint Allahu Akbar. No one could prove it, but they didn't need to. Zayn's light lived on. Zayn's story isn't just about a miracle. It's about what we do with the light we're given. In a world divided by fear, one child's voice brought a town together, showing us that love can heal what hate tears apart. What will you do with this story? Will you carry Zayn's light into your own community? Share this video, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories that touch the soul. Until next time, may peace guide your heart.